All right, guys, but today is Wednesday, October 3rd. What a start to October. September started slow and then just got ridiculously hot, as we know. We saw September have TLRY in it. We saw September have NBEV. We saw September have ALT. We saw September have SAEX. Now switching over to October, what are we seeing over here? Kind of kick this off. We're having VTVT. What an absolute beast. Today, VTVT, I was able to lock in a total so far of $1,700, $1,710 on this trade. You guys can also see it right here. P&L on the day, $1,710 on a total of 6,000 shares. Could have made more even if I held longer. I actually probably could have made upwards around $3,000, $4,000 if I was able to hold longer, but I wanted to lock in my profit. This play was definitely a test for me, was it not? This was a play that was definitely testing me. This is definitely a play that was definitely teasing me. And I definitely wanted to come out on top on this. Let's break this one down, start to finish. Talk about why the stock went on a nice run. Talk about why the stock went on a nice rip. And my thought process behind this whole entire play. So, VTVT started going on a rip yesterday. It went from 80 cents and ran all the way up to $2. Why? Why did the stock go on a rip? Why did the stock go on a climb? If you watched our recap yesterday, we actually talked about this. I played VTVT yesterday. I made 100 and I want to say $80 on VTVT. And this was the press release that came out. So make sure you guys watch the recap from yesterday as well. And you guys can see October 2nd. This stock came out with McAndrews and Forbes to purchase 1.8 million shares. Forbes purchasing 1.8 million shares. That's a well-known name. That's a well-known company. And for them to purchase shares of VTVT is making the whole world go ahead and buy into this play, right? I gave you guys some examples yesterday. We talked about Weight Watchers, WTW, when Oprah bought into Weight Watchers. Oprah became a spokesperson for Weight Watchers, and this is when this stock, right back here, went from $12 and gapped all the way up to $20, and since then, it's just been an absolute beast. It's all the way up towards $69 now, right? And that was about 2 years ago. I remember the first one I really saw, when I was really start stock trading, was VLTC. When Carl Icahn from Icahn Enterprises, he went ahead and bought into this, and he's a billionaire. And we have a very well-known investor. He bought about 1 million shares on VLTC, and this stock went absolutely crazy. This stock went all the way from $1 and spiked all the way up to $22 just because Carl Icahn bought in, about I think it was like 2.3 million shares. So now we're having Forbes. Forbes buying 1.8 million shares on VTVT, this little penny stock that no one really knows. And this whole entire thing now is going pretty crazy. This whole entire stock right now is moving pretty big. So VTVT started getting some activity yesterday, woke up to a massive gap up once the news really started clicking, and then everyone today just was all over VTVT. This stock did not, have a pullback on this play from the start of the day. It's basically just been uptrending, uptrending, uptrending. So let's think about my thought process. You guys watch, you guys are here. What was I doing? VTVT, I wasn't touching this play at the bell. I usually don't buy stocks right at the start. Why is that? That's just because everything is so random at the start. We could see a stock spike. We could see a stock dump. We could see one of the other play stock go on a rip and run. Again, we have so many different options at the start of the day. There's about 5, 6, 7 different plays that could bring in the activity. VTVT, as we talked about in our morning newsletter this morning, this was definitely a stock we were watching. This was a stock we were ready for. But there were other plays available as well, correct? We had a nice list of stocks that could all go on a nice run, all could go on a nice rip. So if we break that down, and how I always like to think about it in simplest terms, if we break it down to 100 people, we could have 30 people going here, we could have 20 people going here, we could have 10 people here, we could have 40 people over there. We always want to wait for the stock that has the majority of the hype, majority of the mob. We had some nice news today. We had MNGA, the number one top gainer in pre-market, and then we had VTVT right here, talking about, the big buyout with 1.8 million shares. So, there were definitely some other options. But right when this day kicked on off, right when this day started, everyone moved over to VTVT. And the stock immediately went from 280 and shot all the way up to 376. And I'm saying to myself, okay, at this point, I'll wait for a pullback, right? The stock just went from 290, 280-ish, all the way up towards around this 375, 376 mark. And I say, okay, where can I look for an entry? Let me look for an entry back down towards around 325 or 310. right? That's going to be right at the 200-day moving average. Like 325 is natural support, 310 is right next to the 200-day moving average. That's going to be a nice area support. So I sit back and I wait a little bit, and I say to myself, okay, I got down towards around 330 for a second, a little second, and then whoop, pops right on up, starts running on up, starts getting a nice rip at $4, right? So now I say to myself, okay, I don't want to buy at the top. I don't want to buy at the top. If I buy on the top, I'm probably going to end up losing, right? We are all trained. We all know we should not buy in the top. If you're not first, you're last. Wait for your pullback, right? So I say to myself, okay, where's the stock going to have its pullback? Where is there going to be an area where I can get in on this play? Well, we see that the stock bounced at 345. We see that it bounced at 345. We see that it bounced at 345. So that's my support line right now. Okay, next bounce at 345, I'll get in on there. The stock comes on down towards around 367, comes back up to $4, comes back down to 376, comes up to $4, and then what happens? We start breaking $4. Now we start breaking $4, and I start saying, okay, oh my god, okay, the stock just went from around 280. Now we're all the way up towards around this $4 mark. $4 is top resistance, top resistance, top resistance, top resistance. Now the stock just spiked all the way up to 469. Best bounce play is going to be around $4. Deck, should you just hop in right now? Should I just, hop in and you go on a chase? No. How many times in the past have you bought in at the top and right when you bought in, the stock started turning? It's up right now over 100%. The stock just went on a big time run. The stock just went on a big time rip. Don't chase. Chasing's wrong. Don't let emotions take over. Don't let greed take over. And then what happens? VTVT keeps moving on up, keeps climbing, keeps moving on up. And we see that this stock continue to climb, continue to rip, continue to pop right here, right? And in my mind, what am I saying? Oh, you know what? If you hopped in, you could have made money. But that's a very bad way to think. Very bad way to think. Because guess what happens if you think like that? Guess what happens if you say to yourself, okay, I could have made money if I hopped in at $4. If I chased it and I hopped in at $5, I could have made money. Oh, if I hopped in at 550 and chased it, I would have made money. Right? That's like if you put that in your head, guess what's going to happen next time you trade? The next time you see a breakout, you're going to be like, oh, VTVT went on that big time rip, a couple days ago. Yeah, and that one kept going, so I'm allowed to chase this one because I was taught not to chase plays. But that one, VTVT, that one went on a nice big rip. So maybe that's going to do the same as this one right here. And then you hop in, let's say, the next play that you think is going to be the next VTVT, and it turns on, crashing. And now you're like, oh, why is it that every play that I hop into, VTVT went on a run. Now the one I hopped in, now this one, doesn't fall. This one doesn't spike, and now I'm losing. Now you're just getting caught up in your emotions like crazy, right? The ones that you didn't hop in, those spike, and now the ones you do hop in, even though you shouldn't chase because you think it's going to be like the next VTVT, that's where you end up taking losses. And now your emotions are running wild. Now you don't even know what you're doing with yourself anymore, right? You got to stay disciplined. I know chasing is wrong. I know hopping in on a play late is not the right thing to do, right? We are going to see probably around 80%, maybe even more than 80% of stock traders fail. And why is that? Because they're hopping in on plays late. It's not every day we are going to be able to see giant breakouts and giant supernovas. There are thousands of stocks out there. The majority of them are not going to be able to spike and hold on this sort of a manner. Now, it's our job to find stocks that are able to spike and hold and go on these nice big rips, right? And that's when we look for chart patterns and press releases and setups and low floats and good volume and all that good stuff to give us the best chance of coming out profitable. But I've been burned in the past. I've made my rookie mistakes. I've hopped in on plays late, and guess what? I've lost. So even though I'm sitting here and I say, could I have made money if I hopped in at, let's say, $3 or $4 or $5? Could I have made money? Yes, I could have. But in the long run, if you chase stocks in the long run as a trader, you are not going to be a trader very long. If you continue to buy in late, if you can continue to buy stocks on a chase, you will not be a trader very long. Could you make money today? Absolutely. Did it work out in your favor today? Absolutely. And I could not be more happy for the people who made profit today. But I want to make sure I'm looking out for you guys. If you guys are taking the time to listen to this, I want to make sure that you guys are getting, the right resources, getting valuable information, which is if you chase stocks in the long term, you probably will not be here very long. So what did I do on VTVT? I refused to buy it. I refused to buy in if I did not get my pullback back down to 310, 200-day moving average. I refused to buy it if I could not buy the stock at 345, where the stock had nice support right here. I refused to buy it if the stock did not have a pullback back down to $4 right here. And then the stock went absolutely supernova. And the great thing is, I'm pumped. I know people in chat were absolutely banking. I know that this market's super hot. You should not get discouraged if a stock goes on a big time rip and you're not in on it, right? And why is that? Because the stock is going on a giant climb. If we have giant climbs, if we have giant rips, that's just going to make more people come down and trade this hot market, right? And if you miss one play, who the heck cares, right? We already went over. We had ALT, we had TLRY, we had SAEX, we had NBIV, we had NBEV, we had IGC, we had so many more, and we had VTVT. Like, there are plays every single day. There are supernovas every single day. The strategy that I have, if I'm in first, if I'm in like at the $3 break, hey, let's get it. Let's absolutely kill it. Let's have some fun. But me personally, if I am not in, I am not going to chase because of my past, and I've lost in the past when I first started trading a lot. So I've learned not to do that again, right? So it's like like a kid. If you're a kid and you're drawing on the walls, what happens? You get punished. No one likes being punished. No one likes sitting in the corner. No one likes being in timeout. So what do? You probably stop drawing on the walls. Same exact thing with chasing stocks. If I chase the stocks, what usually happens? I end up losing. So this is why I did not chase a play. What was my game plan throughout the whole entire morning? What's my mindset? VTVT's hot. VTVT has a great press release. VTVT has a lot of volume. VTVT has a lot of room to run, and it definitely is a big time ripper. Let me get in on my area, my bounce play. Let me stick with my game plan. Couldn't get in at 310. Couldn't get in at 345. Couldn't get in at $4 break. So where did I get in on this play? I got in on this play at 370. Right? I got in on this play right at 370 right here. It was almost a perfect bounce play. Perfect bounce play. And when did I get in? I didn't get in on this initial run up. I got in right here. It does not matter if you make money in the first 10 minutes. It does not matter if you guys make money at 10 o'clock. It does not matter if you guys make money at 3 o'clock. And what matters is how much money you close and you leave your day with. And I know at the first 10 minutes, sometimes people get emotional. They want to hop in because they see things moving. And I know the first 25 minutes, the first hour, sometimes people want to hop in and get in on a play because they see things moving. But sometimes you just have to wait for your game plan to set itself up. We're going to see a lot of stocks move. We're going to see a lot of stocks rip. We're going to see a lot of stocks, going up and down movements. Wait for that one area of predictability. What do I always tell you guys? Be stock snipers. Sit and wait for your easy shot. You don't want to be a person that has 15, 20 trades a day. You want to be the person that has 1 to 2 trades a day, and you make more than the person that has 15, 20 trades a day. Most likely the person who's trading 15 to 20 days, 15 to 20 times a day is going to have big losses with a ton of commission fees. How many times do I trade a day? Usually max. 2 to 3 times max. Today, I'm only going to trade once. Why? Because I just made $1,700. I'm happy with that, right? Let's just say I made $1,700 every other day. I'm making about 15 grand over that, 30 grand a month. It's going to be absolutely great. So VTVT, I waited for my game plan, waited for my predictability, because I didn't know if I bought in at the top right here, it was unpredictable to me. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make money if I chased this play, because I didn't know how much higher it was going to go, right? The fact, if you wait from chasing and stay away from chasing, you can't ever lose money. Now, does it stink sometimes and you're like, oh, the stock's moving up, 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 and I'm not in on it? Yeah, it's definitely frustrating. I 100% understand that. But you don't ever lose money. You don't lose money from sitting out of a play and waiting for your bounce play. So what did I see on VTVT? This stock went supernova right here, got a little parabolic, and went from 479 and shot all the way up to 611. Now we're in the hole. We're in the middle of this hole, and I'm saying to myself, okay, 2 things are going to happen, or one of the 2 things. We either gap it on up, and we're going to probably, climb up for a little bit before we dump, or we're going to have a gap down and probably a dump. Let me try to figure out, where is this thing going to dump? Because I already missed, it never came down to 310, never came down to 445 or 345, and never came down to $4. Where am I going to get my bounce play? And where is it, guys? Look for the hiccup. Right here. This area. This little doji star and this little lower shadow. That's the hiccup. Okay, we have green, 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 doji star, hiccup, green, 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 right? It's the only area on this whole entire path where it wasn't able to continue to climb. This little area, this price point at 470, something happened here. This area at 470, something went wrong here. And that's when VTVT, we're looking at this play and we see that, okay, this is the area of the bounce play, right? This is the area of the bounce that's going to happen. That's the hiccup. So I, went right here. I went right to this. I said, okay, let me put this trend. Let me put the support line right here at 470, right? So I put my area right here at 470. And what did I see? Stock came out of the hold. Stock came out of the hole, and within a second, boom, came right down to 470. It was like kind of impossible to get filled because there's like only a couple like random orders real quick. But then it came back on up, and then guess what happened? Stock came back down to 470 perfectly. Stock came back down to 470 perfectly, spiked all the way up to 475. The stock went on a dollar rip from my bounce play, right? Dollar rip from my bounce play. It even bounced again at 470. And now it's starting to come back on down, starting to get a little bit of a crack right here. But this is where I got in. From that hiccup, from this even showing that this support, like even this coming back down and bouncing at 470 and shooting back on up, that showed me I was right on the right track. And then coming right back down here to 470, that's when it shot on up. So if you guys are looking right here, how did I get in on this play? I limit ordered in, right? I put a limit order in on this stock. I said, hey, this thing is all the way up at 489 right now. I put in all limit orders right here. Limit order 472 on 1,000 shares. Limit order 474 1,000 shares. Limit order 473 1,000 shares. Limit order 472, 471, 470. I just had a limit order sitting right at this support line. And if the stock came down to the support line, I was going to get filled. As the stock started moving on up, I'm in on 6,000 shares now. It's all the way up at $5. I'm locking in something. Again, it ran all the way up to 570. That's what I'm saying. I could have made actually, $6,000 if I continued to hold my 6,000 shares and made a perfect trade. But I mean, almost $2,000. Almost $2,000 in the matter of 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes. The stock went from here in 2 minutes. $1,700 in 2 minutes on VTVT. And let's actually see. Yep, in at 1021. Out at 1023. What other job in the world is going to do that? What other job in the world is going to give you $1,700 in the matter of 2 minutes on predictable, areas? The thing is, VTVT, it was a test. It definitely tested me. It tested my emotions. It tested me as a trader wanting to chase. It tested me on all those fields. But you got to stay tough. You got to stay strong. You can't let emotions take over, because if you let emotions take over, you are going to lose. Maybe you could have let emotions take over and you could have came out with a little bit of profit today. But I want you guys to know in the long run, that's not always going to be the case. And I want you guys to wait for your play, not become chasers, and stay predictable. Now, you can also see something I already drew out for you guys, but I do want to draw again just to make sure everyone understands this, is that bounce plays are going to be like what? Is going to be like a basketball, right? I already drew out, this is you right here. You're having the time of your life. You're throwing a basketball in the air. There's you throwing a basketball in the air, smiling, having fun, and you throw a basketball in the air, right? What's going to happen to this basketball? Gravity's going to take over, and it's going to come back on down. And what's going to happen? It's going to hit the floor, and it's going to bounce back on up, right? It's going to bounce back on up, and then it's going to come back on down. And what's going to happen? It's going to hit the floor, and it's going to bounce back on up, and it's going to come back. Happening right there. So, you kind of have your floor, like right here. So when you throw a basketball in the air, you bounce off the floor, you move on up. You bounce on the floor, you go on up, you bounce on the floor, and then eventually kind of rolls out. What does this look like? VTVT. You throw a basketball in the air, it hits its floor, what happens? You get a nice little bounce back on up. You hit the floor, you bounce on up. You hit the floor, you bounce on up. But once you get to this rolly part, stock's going to dump. Stock's going to, definitely fall on down. So this is the same exact thing as this lump, as this lump, as this lump. Basically this lump, and this whole stock, falling apart. All right. So this is what you guys have to see right here. When you guys are trading these stocks, seeing these bounce plays and seeing, yes, if 470 is going to be a great area. It's going to shoot up to 475. This one's going to be a little smaller and shoot up towards around 540. This one's going to be really small, and then we're going to get our little crack of our floorboard. Now, you guys do have your next support lines back down towards around this like 415-ish mark. Now that's going to be a nice little area to look for a bounce play, because that's going to be the last area of top resistance right here at around like 410, 415, 410, 415. So you guys can look around there. But I'm very happy with this trade. I've been waiting for this trade, very excited. I already showed you guys my P&L of $1,700. But as you know from before, I'm super pumped with you guys as well. $628, $290, $368, $5,990, $1,800, $650, $1,400, $900, $150, $300 just locked in again from $150 to $450 on the swing, $190, $609, $4,100. It just keeps on going, guys. So again, absolutely awesome job. I am so happy for all the traders who made money on this. I want to go over this play. I wanted to break down, talk about why the stock ran, why I got in at the areas I did, why I didn't chase, and all about waiting and being a predictable player, being a stock sniper, waiting for that kill, waiting for that shot, and of course going from there. So I congratulate everyone who made money on this play. I congratulate everyone who got the run up. I congratulate everyone who got the dip buy. And again, there's still a lot of opportunity to be seeing the stock get this nice rip in the afternoon. Awesome job. Very exciting day. Welcome to October, guys. It's the spooky season of supernovas. So let's see what's coming up in the near future.